let's go. What order do you want to go in here as we break down the rest of these games?
You know who I'm actually itching to talk about a little bit is the University of Connecticut.
Let's do it. So we'll go to the West region now and just talk about all of those games, especially now that Gonzaga has won and has finished off the TCU Horned Frogs. They will go on to play UCLA. Let's talk about Connecticut, because I think they look like maybe the best team so far in this tournament, if I'm being completely honest.
They have, you want to talk about smart roster construction and the way that they've been built. I mean, every piece just fits together so well. And Hurley is an X's and O's maestro who has intricate sets, who has so many options within those sets, and empowers Jordan Hawkins to be really the main threat that teams have to focus on trying to take away. The challenge is, I think, over the last 2 weeks, Connecticut has figured out that when Jordan Hawkins is taken away, now they know how to play inside out and play through Adama Sanogo and play through Donovan Clingan a little bit more. But everything that they are about and they have strikes fear into opponents. They're big. Across the board, positionally, they have size. Not just having Sanogo and Clingan on the inside, but 1 through 5. They're taller, they're active, they're long, and they use that to apply pressure. Some teams that are longer and bigger try to sit back and use their length and just put their hand up from an arm's length away, or say, you know what, we'll give you those shots and we'll just clean up the boards. No, Connecticut goes out there and they pick up their pressure. They have the identity of their coach. They want to be the aggressor. And I think one of the big reasons for that is actually one of the guys who I've started to fall in love with a little bit more, and that's Andre Jackson. The way that he impacts games in transition, both as a rim attacker and a playmaker for others, is phenomenal to watch. He is super aware of where shooters like Hawkins or Calcaterra are when they're running to the line. He's able to impact the game a little bit more cleanly there than in the half court. And then in the half court, Hurley gets the ball moving and gets players moving enough so that you don't notice that Jackson is a non-shooting threat most of the time. But we talked a lot about the style of play for big man earlier in this pod, Sam, where if you're just going to throw the ball inside and bank on getting more twos than other teams who are going to be really spaced around the three-point line and then say, like, we'll trade twos for threes and we can beat you that way, I don't think that's a recipe for success over a 6-game sample anymore. But they play outside in at Connecticut. They try to get Hawkins off movement and off screens first. They have enough movement shooters and guys that are threats from beyond the line. And then as soon as Clingan or Sanogo set a pin down, they are sealing their man as hard as they can in the post. It makes it so easy to be able to throw the ball in there. The only thing that's going to stop Connecticut, to be honest with you, is Connecticut. A tough shooting night, a game where they uncharacteristically turn the ball over a little bit too much, where they're not the best version of themselves. I strongly believe that with the versatility of this roster and the multitude of ways they can beat you, that as long as they're playing their best, they will be cutting down the nets in 2 weeks.
So Connecticut can play you super big and super long. Like they can play, their starting lineup, everyone is between 6'5" and 6'9", right? They can switch. They can play drop with Sanogo, or they can bring out a super giant and Donovan Clingan and just go full drop and go full rim protection with a bunch of switchability around him. They can go very aggressive at the point of attack with those Diarra and Andre Jackson duo lineups. They can go switchable across the board, really, if they want to, because Sanogo can kind of do that a little bit more now. They can go hyper shooting if they want to, with Calcaterra out there, with Hawkins and with Newton and with Caravan. I mean, like even Adama Sanogo has developed a very real, pick and pop game to an extent, I guess is the way to put it. You're right. I think that they are the team that has to beat themselves. I will say I'm interested to see them against Arkansas, because I think that Arkansas is one of the few teams that is athletic enough that will be able to run around screens with guys like Hawkins, with guys like Calcaterra, with guys like Tristan Newton. They're going to be able to really get into you at the point of attack with guys like Devo Davis and Anthony Black. I actually think that is the key to stopping Connecticut. You have to be able to get into them at the point of attack. Having said that, like St. Mary's can kind of do that a little bit. Iona can kind of do that a little bit, and they got through it after some first half issues. They can't do it like Arkansas can, and I think that is why Arkansas is a fascinating matchup for them, like a genuinely really, really interesting matchup for them. Plus, they have Eric Musselman, who is great. I mean, one of those dudes that I just absolutely do not want to play in a one-game tournament. He will figure you out, and then he will attack you possession after possession after possession, doing the same exact thing. The thing is with Muss, though, it's harder to do that against Connecticut than it is against anybody else. I think.
And this is the game within a game here, Sam, is the teams that have had success against Connecticut have taken away Jordan Hawkins most. And if he struggles, then typically they don't find enough three-point shooting or floor spacing, kind of overall offensive output to be able to win some games. We just watched Grady Dick kind of get limited a lot by Arkansas and the way that Anthony Black played him, chasing him off screens, the overall attention to detail that Eric Musselman put in their defensive game plan to try to limit Grady Dick, because Kansas, like Connecticut, had those same issues. When Grady Dick fails to reach the 8-point mark, Kansas, I believe, was 1-5 on the season. So if you could shut down Grady Dick, they just wouldn't seem to have enough offense, floor spacing, ways to generate clean looks for others because of that shooting gravity. The chess match here is going to be whether Musselman can hit some of those same buttons that Anthony Black is just the guy that takes that away, or can Hurley and this UConn staff watch the film on that Kansas game, try to anticipate and find ways to use that type of coverage from Anthony Black, that super aggressive ball pressure that Arkansas is going to put on them, to UConn's advantage, to try to not just get Hawkins some open looks and create offense for him, but punish a team for being as aggressive as Arkansas is going to want to be on him on the perimeter. Just one thing that I'm thinking about moving forward, like, yes, Musselman and Arkansas just showed the perfect game plan for how to take away a shooter, but can UConn stay a step ahead and learn from that, adjust preemptively to make sure that they move forward?
The guy that I think is going to be big in this game is going to be Nick Smith. Nick Smith needs to play better, kind of straight up at on some level, right? 44 minutes in the NCAA tournament so far, 6 points. I believe he is 2 for 14 from the field. Just got to play better. Like, if he's going to be a first-round pick, top 20 pick, he's got to do it. He's got to prove it. He's got to show that he can actually play in the way he has to play. UConn's going to make it hard on him. But Nick Smith is a difficult shot maker when he is right. I think Nick Smith is the key. If they get a good Nick Smith game, I think Arkansas can win. If they don't, I think that they probably don't have the offensive juice once UConn gets going downhill offensively in the way we've seen during the second halves of their games.
Yeah. And we're going to get a Jordan Walsh and Andre Jackson matchup where they're guarding each other. And it's the real life imagination of that Spider-Man meme where these two guys are kind of pointing at each other. Like, that's going to be a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, it is. And I would recommend doing it the way that you say, have Anthony Black on Jordan Hawkins, and then you probably guard Andre Jackson with Jordan Walsh just to try and get into his body and really frustrate him physically, I think, as much as anything.